G'day everyone, you've got Deniz here from Inspired Growth Training, and I have Darren Hunter, and today we are here for the BDM Coach podcast show. Darren, what we're going to talk about today, I absolutely love, because every single agent, regardless of state, country, where you are in the world,
doesn't matter how good you are.
Doesn't matter how good you are. You could be the best, right? But there's still a fear. We all fear rejection, and we're going to be talking about how you can overcome that. And before I let you loose, I just quickly want to share, sometimes people have an emotional memory on a fear. So I actually have an emotional memory of rejection, of somebody saying, no, I don't like it. And I think it also comes down to why I'm so competitive and why I work really hard at putting things in place so people want to sign with me, rather than me having to say, will you sign with me? You know, when I was a kid, I was 12, 13 years of age. I remember I asked a girl out to a dance and she said no in front of all my mates.
That left you with PTSD.
So not only did I get rejected, but all my mates are laughing at me. Like, you know, it wasn't a don't worry about it, mate, you're a really good guy. It was a ha, 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 because that's how old we were. So I have that memory, and I often talk about it when I'm presenting or doing training, because we have it. And that's why we've got certain procedures that we give our IGT coaching clients, so you can avoid that, and it works. But you've got another way, which I'm really excited about as well.
Let's get right into it. Let's cut to the chase. So everyone, for sure, you'll be able to use this. If you want to, you can use this offer, what we're going to teach you today. It's actually in two parts. We're going to do this podcast and the next podcast show, because we need to spend quality time explaining it. But this is going to help you. If you want to ask for the business that day and get brave, this is going to give you a much better chance to get it over the line. But also, if you get that, you've done a great presentation, you've met with them out at the property or whatever, and you think things are cruising, I've got this in the bag, but then you get, but I want to think about it, or I'll get back to you, or I've still got a few other agents coming. All right. This is what we're talking about. It's very narrow to the context of what I've just said. All right. You're having those particular issues. This podcast show and what I'm going to teach you is going to help you. And this is Deniz, of course, what we did from stage at the IGT conference just a few weeks ago on the Gold Coast, of course. And I think you looked at the scores, so we were pretty satisfied. The crowd was very happy with this. I think I got a 9 out of 10 from the whole crowd, because everybody scored. I think it was a 9.1.
Not 9.2, I think.
9.2. Okay. So that everybody, of course, in the whole event, everyone, they rated every speaker on an evaluation form. So I came out at 9.2 out of 10. So I'm happy with that. Of course,
very good session.
The only person that beat me on that day beat us really was Mark Carter, our MC and professional speaker. But anyway, let's move on. So this is all about understanding first that when people get to a point of decision, or you bring them to a point of decision, particularly if you're very confident and you're very good at what you're doing, sometimes another psychological issue can rise up simply because of the momentum of what's going on. All right. So you might think, damn it, I'm really good, I've got this in the bag or whatever. And another issue rises up because it's caused through fear. All righty. Is that when people are knowing they're getting close to a point of decision, they're knowing they're going to get close to having to part with some money and having to make a choice, it's natural, it's human instinct to shrink back in fear, and like a little speed hump appears between you and getting the deal. And that's where they can then shrink back and give you that, I want to think about it, I'll get back to you, or whatever other procrastination thing that you thought there's nothing stopping these people going ahead, but now something like a wedge has just got in the way. All righty. So understanding it's just a psychological reaction to your momentum that they throw this card up. Obviously, if they've got a property that's becoming ready, they've got a property that's vacant, and settlement day is occurring, that's another massive pressure point that's going to have more power for them to make a decision because of the sleepless nights and realizing I've got a crap load of money I'm going to have to outlay soon in a mortgage. So that thing there is a very powerful force. It's going to push it over that speed hump. But otherwise, you've got to put the energy and the squeeze on something using an irresistible offer that's going to, with energy, push them over that speed hump that's now appeared. All right. And so particularly if you think you've got it in the bag, all righty, if you haven't left with a management agreement on that day, you really
never presume.
Even if you, doesn't matter how confident you are, you need to be presenting this offer. Okay. Yep. So, all right, understanding that pressure and energy to push people over that psychological fear speed hump, we use scarcity and urgency. And if you spend 5 minutes studying the great marketing experts in the world, I've spent a lot more than 5 minutes, and I've traveled around the world to see the very, very best. This is something that was taught to me by a guy called Dan Kennedy. Dan Kennedy is really the father of marketing. People like Seth Godin, all of those sort of people. And I guess as an FYI, Deniz has got some dogs in the house today. So this is raw and real and ready. So Deniz, good, well done for going to mute. But Dan Kennedy is all about the offer. The offer creates scarcity and urgency. Those things combine. An offer with a deadline to it, a good offer that they like, they want, with a deadline to it, places that pressure enough to push them over onto your side and onto that management agreement. All right. So scarcity and urgency is what creates the momentum force to bump it over that barrier. Okay. Now, to understand that to bump it over, we've got to offer them something that they really want. So we've got to be careful of really getting into and offering something that they don't care about. Like, you know, we could, this is from a movie, Deniz, you know, offer me this pen. You know, it's just, who cares about the pen? You know, it's got to be something that is irresistible to them.
It has nothing to do with the pen, right? It's about the whole process of what you're going to say and the...
To make it irresistible, we've got to come up with something that they really, really want. To come up with something that they really, really want, it's got to be connected to their psychological pain points and the things that they are worried about. The reason why they've got in contact with you. You and I know that that owner can go and employ another property manager. Oh, sorry, I take a step back there. I said the wrong thing. You and I know that they can go and manage it themselves. There is no law that says they must use an agent. There is no law, all right? But there is a reason why they've called in a property manager. There's a reason why they've called you in, all right? And there are reasons or things that are keeping them awake at night. And they could be very typically things like they're scared of their mortgage not being paid by a bad tenant. They're scared of the tenant from hell trashing a property. All of those things are the fears, the primal fears that they have in their foundation that they are fearing. And the reason why they want to speak to you, because what they're really looking for is a quality, reliable property manager that will give them a solution to those fears and anxieties that they have. So we've got to then, what we offer them must tap right into and provide a solution to those pain points. So Deniz, just moving on, and I know that I've sort of taken over a bit here because when I'm on a roll, I don't stop. But so right now, Deniz, we know that the pain points are really around these four. All right. And everybody, if you just could focus just on these 4 pain points and all of your marketing and all your points of difference and everything just feeds into these, you'll do so well. Number 1 pain point, they want a quality tenant. And I've polled these into investor groups. They want a quality tenant, okay, because they don't want the tenant from hell. Number 2, they want a quality, reliable property manager. All right. Then they want best rent. Then they want it in the fastest possible time. So those are the 4 main pain points, and I put them in the order of priority. First one is they want a good tenant. Next one, they want a good property manager. Next one, they want the best rent. And the next one is they want it in the fastest possible time. So they are in the order of priority. So any points of difference that you have or things that you can offer them must satisfy those things. So Deniz, let's just put it on the table now. To get a quality tenant, what are some points of difference, particularly around property marketing and things like that? Because that's what tenants are exposed to. What are some of the best points of difference that you've seen out there?
I mean, Darren, you can't go past the virtual live walkthroughs where, it's getting recorded. Michael Sands, when he had Niche Property, was doing this in 2017, where tenants could walk into his office and he could put goggles on them and they could view the property straight away, right? So you've also got your virtual
360
walkthroughs as well, where the 360 cameras where they can actually click through. Sorry, when I talk about a virtual live, you can wear the goggles and look where you want because it's through a virtual camera, but it's being recorded. But then you've also got your virtual walkthroughs like what Box Brownie is doing at the moment, where you can actually, the tenant can click through. You've got your videos. Obviously, you could do a live walkthrough video, or you could also do have some, videos used where it takes the tenant through. They could use, Instagram reel videos like for the fast views and do things with some fast-paced music, photo slides. They're just some examples, but professional photography. Then you've also got your enhanced photos with furniture being added.
So enhanced photos is making, everyone just understand is that when a tenant dials up on a property marketing portal, I want a 4-bedroom home for rent in Smithville. All the searches that match that come up and there's 10 to a page. That property manager, so that tenant, that quality tenant is likely to go and click on first time the actual property that has the best visuals, the best looking property. All right. And so you need to make sure that your photos are just looking so much better than your competitors if we're going to tap into that factor that's going to be a magnet to the quality tenants. All right. That's why you need to have enhanced photography. So make sure, your green grass is green. Your gray sky with rain clouds is blue. In all of those enhanced photography, and you can do that with the Snap app. Now it's only out on iPhone at the moment, but we're told it is going to go to Android. But just download it, everyone. So go to your phone, on your iPhone, download the Snap app, and you can actually you can put in your photos that you've done on your iPhone, and they will pimp them up for you, and they'll then for example, the windows, Deniz, you can see out the windows so much better. The views are so much better. The photos are cleaned up. They're not changed. The context of them isn't changed. It's not then being deceiving or anything like that.
Not at all, because the app, Darren, what it does, it takes a photo of the room, it takes a photo of the furniture, and it takes a photo outside the window.
Yeah.
It's something like 70 photos are taken and it merges it into one.
Yeah, that's it. And then next level, if you've got an empty room, why not get it furnished? And you can get digital staging digital furniture entered into those photos, everyone. And you can do all that on the Snap app. Make sure you download it. And then, of course, you got your virtual tours and so forth as well. So everybody have a look at that and check that out. Deniz, have I got your attention? All right, let's move on.
You do, but I'm also talking to the dogs to make sure.
Yeah, I know you're trying to get the dogs to behave themselves. All right, let's continue. Okay, now also, so that's really tapping into the owners want the best tenant. That's how you can explain, Mr. Owner, 90% of quality tenants are going to click on our listing than over others because of this, and now they're able to do a virtual tour, which means they can qualify themselves so much quicker. We also do floor plans as well, but our competitors, they just think just doing boring photos on an iPhone is good enough, and we're saying it's not good enough. They're not doing floor plans like salespeople do. We do floor plans, so you're already standing out, and in the mind the owner is going, wow, these guys are wow, this is great, because you're feeding right into, I want a quality tenant at the best rent in the fastest possible time, and they can see that what you provide is actually going to achieve that result when you show it, promote it to them. Okay, next step. They're also concerned about the property condition, aren't they, Deniz? So Inspection Express with their very professional digital ingoing inspection report, property condition report, entry report, whatever you want to call it.
Depending on country, state, but we know
Correct.
what it means.
But embedding a video, a virtual tour into that as well. Okay, you still got photos, still got your written report, but a virtual tour you can show to owners is that when we actually do the virtual tour at the start inspection, and a tenant wants to argue with us later on when they leave, we only have to show them the virtual tour and, of course, the photos as well. That's got wow factor, everybody, that Mr. Owner, we can stop a potential conflict situation that could go to tribunal in an instant, because you can't argue with the virtual tour. You just can't argue with that. So everyone, this is, again, owners are going, wow, wow. And remember, you are now radically different than your competitors. All right. They're not doing any of this. They're not going to do any of this. They're more concerned about discounts as using it as a point of difference. You're now not doing discounts. You're doing something else as a point of difference. So moving on from this, everybody, the next step is, before we end this podcast, and we'll see you in part 2, is you need to now add on some extra fees. So once you've understood we're creating things that tap into their pain points, don't come up with something boring like, you'll send them a box of chocolates every month. That's not a point of difference. It's something that means something to their anxiety points and relieve them, and can see that you are the number one that's going to get them a solution. And the other agents down the road are a third and fourth best. You're the first choice. So we then come up with some extra fees, add-ons. These are things that you can discretionary charge if you want, but what we're going to do is add these fees on, which are connected to what we just promoted. And then we are going to use them in an offer to entice the owner to us. So Deniz, and I've got here some examples: an enhanced photography and digital staging marketing fee. Now, I've just put X dollars on that. That might be a $99 fee or a $199 fee or something like that. It might the virtual tour marketing fee, the walkthrough inspection video, a walkthrough video tour of the property, $99. Now, Todd, you remember, you used to charge for that.
Darren, I had $110 for video walkthroughs, and you know, I used to use that as a, sign with us today and we'll waive that for the first let of the property.
That's cool. So moving on, and then you got the entry and exit digital inspections with the virtual tour included. It might be $199 or something like that. So you're adding now these fees into your list. Alrighty, please don't get too concerned about, but Darren, owners going to be upset. No. You don't understand the law of the main game, which owners really only care about the management fee. You'll learn that in my book, The PM Fee Script Secrets, by the way. Just go to stopdiscountingfees.com. If you haven't got that book, you'll read about the owners really only care about the management fee and a lot less about everything else. So stopdiscountingfees.com to get that book, The PM Fee Scripts Secrets. Just pay for shipping. So yeah, that's where we've got to, everybody. That we will then, in the next podcast, we're going to now move to the scripts, move to the offer, how we can use those extra add-on fees now in an offer that's going to create pressure and a squeeze using scarcity and urgency to push them over that psychological fear barrier that's come up, that little speed hump. All right. So Deniz, now also you've just finished off the Top Growth Academy, which has been a great series. And we're already getting feedback too from some people that have implemented some of those things that are taught in there. In fact, you were doing training in an office yesterday, Deniz. You're teaching them how to get more business with current clients. And so you're teaching the stuff that you'll learn. I think it's session 5 in the Top Growth Academy on how to get more growth out of current clients. But Deniz, when you were teaching that to the ladies in an office in Brisbane, what happened?
So what's interesting, we gave them the script, we encouraged them, gave them different examples of no reason calls. And a no reason call for us, there's a reason behind it. Like, our job is to reconnect and become raving fans with the owners. But for the owner, it's a no reason call. just for your understanding. You can't ring them when you're just about to do a routine or a tenant's moving out. That's your job, right? That's part of the process. So it's finding a time in that a 12-month period of management, let's say, when you're normally not speaking to them, because we want to reduce the anxiety of when they see your agency's number come up. So we did that, and we had them do 2 each, and within an hour to 2 hours, their office phone had rung. 2 of the owners had rung back out of the 4, so 50% of the calls were called back, and they had said that they are referring another client to them.
Wow.
So 2 leads had come from.
Great. That's great. Current clients have the power to give you more properties.
Yeah. Yep.
Give you more referrals of other people that have properties as well. So you'll learn that in the Top Growth Academy. Just go to igtmembership.com and you got the Top Growth Academy. You got the BDM Coach Academy also, Deniz, that's just been completed as well. That's already. And the Win Your Worth Academy, which teaches you how to get the very best fees in the market too. Now, Deniz, if people want to chat to you and book into your diary about growth coaching, Grow My Rent Roll. That's it, isn't it?
GrowMyRentRoll.com.
GrowMyRentRoll.com. That books you directly into Deniz's diary, so you can have a chat about coaching as well, and how, if you're finding that you're not getting the results, not getting the growth, how you can book in, have a chat to Deniz about why, how you can get a coach that's going to give you all of the strategies to fast track it, so you can get growth a lot quicker, not have to spend years trying to work it out. We'll give you everything that you need to know very, very quickly. So let's finish up this podcast here, Deniz, and we'll see everybody in the next podcast episode.
We will, Darren. And just to close things off, I look forward to sharing another win, but we'll do that in part 2 from that in-office training that we've done with our IGT Success Program clients.
Okay.
So, yeah, some really cool things that I'll be able to share. But for now, that's part 1 done, Darren, because this particular topic is amazing and we need a session to it. So thanks again for your valuable time.
All right, everyone. See you in the next one.